Hello. Today I will address the Three Musketeers and Hercules episodes of Wishbone. I have not read the Three Musketeers, but I do have a lively anecdote about the book. And Hercules, I don't know that I've ever read any stories of Hercules, but I believe I had a book on tape. Not It wasn't a book on tape. It was more of a short stories on tape, which also included, I think, part of the Three Musketeers. Um, and I've seen various movies. It's another one of those myths, so I don't know where the definitive version is, and I will probably also experience many versions over the course of my life because it's one of those things people keep redoing and redoing. For the Three Musketeers, I have a copy of the book. I mentioned in the last one of these that in 8th grade we had to make a little movie based on one of the books that we read, and that I was in one of those in 6th grade, and then when I was in 8th grade, I made the Lord of the Flies. But in 7th grade, French class, we had to make a little movie, not based on anything we were reading, but just to show that we could construct stories and create conversations in French. And I had the clever idea of translating my favorite part of the Three Musketeers, the part covered in the short story, the audiobook thing that I would listen to frequently, and the part of the story covered in Wishbone, into French. I had the book in English. Probably it was my parents' book. I've still got it. I just never read it. And I had the idea to translate the dialogue from that into French, and I did a little bit, but it's really kind of ironic, that sort of project. I don't think it occurred to me that the book was originally written in French, and that if I found a copy of it in French, it would just be a matter of marking down the finding that portion and then just copying down the French, which I think would have been okay, because I think the project was more about us showing that we could have conversations in French, or do scenes in French. I'm just buttoning my thing. But anyway, that's my thing. And ever since I read, The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Les Mis, and I've got another Victor Hugo back here, 93, and I know that, like The Count of Monte Cristo, Three Musketeers is Alexandre Dumas, but reading those big, somewhat intimidating French novels has made me think Three Musketeers is actually shorter than all of those things, and I think I'd like to give it a shot because it is such a iconic thing. This Wishbone episode is the reason that I was a Musketeer for Halloween one year. So let me just start on that. So the premise of the non-Three Musketeers portion of the episode is Joe, Sam, and David are staying after school for a demonstration of a CD-ROM. I don't know what the CD-ROM is. I guess it's going to be a math-related CD-ROM because the guy mentions fractals, their teacher, and it doesn't work because a rat has chewed through the cord that plugs the computer into the outlet. And it's the biology rat. It's the lab rat named Mort. And so the non-Three Musketeers part of the episode is Wishbone sneaking into the school and helping to track down the rat. But the Three Musketeers part is, and Wishbone saying that he wants to go to school and be part and witness the demo and learn, be a scholar. The Three Musketeers part is, maybe it's the most famous, popular part, which is kind of funny because it's the part where Three Musketeers become four. And again, I haven't read the whole book, so I don't know what this context is, but the character D'Artagnan signs up to be a musketeer. He wants to be a musketeer, and in attempting to ingratiate himself to three particular musketeers, he commits faux pas that maybe in the book it makes more sense that his mistakes result in challenges to duels, but he gets challenged to a duel for, I guess he trips one of them, and then he He kind of ruffles one of their capes, and then a third one he tries to return something that the person seems to have dropped, but the person is embarrassed to have dropped it. And all of these result in challenges to duels. And one of them refers to D'Artagnan as an insolent pup. Another one says mongrel, and these are both dog-related insults. So I wonder, was that the Wishbone writers, or is that how the Alexandre Dumas wrote it? Something to read the book to find out. So one of it's funny, and I think this was also the part that was in that tape that I would listen to. But the Wishbone dialogue is funny. The whole, oh, I've already got a duel at noon. I can fit you in at 1, or can we do 2? Because and then they all show up, all 3 of them, because they all happen to be friends. He happens to antagonize 3 friends, and they show up to be each other's seconds, and maybe thirds, I guess. But then they all realize they're all going to fight the same person, and if they're as good of fighters as they think they are only the first one is actually going to do any fighting. They don't end up fighting with D'Artagnan because Cardinal Richelieu's guard approaches and says that dueling is forbidden, tries to arrest them all. D'Artagnan fights alongside them. They become fast friends, all for one and one for all. And the hunting of the rat in the school results in Wishbone, an uninvited guest in the school, endearing himself by catching the rat to the janitor who doesn't want him there. I don't know if I didn't recognize the janitor from that previous episode where the janitor's chasing Wishbone around. It would make sense, though, if it's the same one. But by the end, he says, "Oh no, Wishbone is welcome here anytime because he caught the rat," and it's a nice ending. And there's another part to the Three Musketeers bit, and it's not as stick in the memory as the how they all became friends story. But after D'Artagnan, Wishbone plays D'Artagnan, after he turns down an offer to join Cardinal Richelieu's guard, which is the rival army or whatever to the Musketeers, and then he also turns down advances by some woman whose name I don't remember, but again, if I read the book, I'll be better at it. She wants to kill him, and Cardinal Richelieu writes a carte blanche, which is I guess a document that means that the bearer of it can do whatever they want, and they have the forgiveness of the cardinal. They are allowed to do whatever they want. And the Three Musketeers, not D'Artagnan, but the other 3, Athos, Porthos, and Artemis, I think those are the names. Another great Three Musketeers thing, maybe my favorite, is the Man with the Iron Mask. I ended up looking that up because I haven't seen it in a long time as I was watching this episode of Wishbone. And the Three Musketeers happen to witness the woman receiving the carte blanche, and they manage to get it away from her. And so later on, when D'Artagnan gets in trouble, he's able to present it and says, "Am I in trouble, or are you in trouble?" To the cardinal, who then promotes him to a lieutenant in the Musketeers. And I thought the Musketeers was the king's thing and the cardinal didn't have, but this is again why I have to read the book. This and The Count of Monte Cristo, both Alexandre Dumas books, somehow are some of the few books of these Wishbone episodes that I haven't read between being a little child and seeing the episodes and now rewatching the episodes. But I really do want to. And so that episode, by the way, called Mutketeer, and the post-show little how we did it bit has to do with, Wishbone starts with a joke. I love doing period pieces because I don't have the hairiest face on set when we do period pieces, and because all the Musketeers have facial hair. And then they show a little clip of the makeup artist putting makeup on the dog, and Wishbone says, "By the way, human makeup it doesn't go as well on doesn't work as well on animals. So don't put makeup on your pets, which is probably something that should have been part of a Wishbone episode a long time ago, or like an early one, because I think that there was makeup on Wishbone previously, and for one, I had a Wishbone stuffed animal. It came with a Sherlock Holmes outfit, and I never put makeup on my pets, but I did dress one of my cats up as Sherlock Holmes. Um, so that is a message that was probably a little late, but better late than never. The other episode, Hercules Unleashed. It's again a very popular part of the Hercules myth, something that is done over and over again. I think it's 12 tasks, and I don't know because the Disney version is my primary knowledge of Hercules, but I guess there's Hercules made the gods angry and has to do 12 tasks, and this was another that I had on a little book on tape thing, which includes stories of him. I think is it Perseus, Hermes. Hermes gives Hercules winged sandals. He faces Medusa. He faces a lion with a hide that can't be cut with any but the lion's claws, and he has to clean out stables for enormous horses. But in this episode, the Wishbone version, his task is to retrieve golden apples that belong to. I didn't write down the name of the nymphs, but Atlas's daughters, I guess. It begins with Hysterias, something like that, and they have a dragon, seemingly a hydra, because it has so many heads, and so Hercules, and nobody knows where the apples are. So the king that Hercules has to do tasks for sends him on this mission because he wants Hercules to disappear, and he figures I'll send him after something that nobody knows where it is, so he won't be able to find it. And along the way, he encounters the River Guardian, who in the I didn't write down any of their names. Nereus, something like Nereus. That's very very much an oversight that I didn't write down the Greek names, but I have things like River Guardian. So the River Guardian, which is a centaur in the Disney movie. I'm not very good with Greek myths. I've never found them very interesting. So the River Guardian turns into a bear, and so I'll just quickly a puddle first, but then the bear to try to intimidate Hercules, the puddle to try to make Hercules go away, and Hercules, being a dog, starts lapping up the puddle, and so the post-show How We Did It thing is about special effects, and they showed that they actually got a trained bear. I doubt the Wishbone dog was on set for the portion for when they were filming the bear in front of the green screen. That wouldn't have ended well, but it's always cool to see another animal seemingly at least interacting with Wishbone. The rat in the previous episode was never in the same shot as Wishbone. I don't know if that would have worked any better than the bear and the Jack Russell Terrier, but anyway, the River Guardian tells him, go to Mount Atlas. That should give you some clues. There he meets, who stole Prometheus? He meets Prometheus, and he frees Prometheus. Prometheus stole fire from the gods, and also Prometheus known as the subtitle of Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus. Prometheus says, ask Atlas, and this is why I, at least, I don't know but about others, but this is why I, at least, believed that Atlas held up the Earth, which I think a lot of people think of Atlas as holding up the Earth. Atlas holds up the heavens, and that bit of Greek mythology I do know. But in this episode, he holds up the Earth because it's easier to depict. But if he's holding up the Earth, what is he standing on? But anyway, Wishbone, as Hercules, flies out into outer space to talk to Atlas and says, I'll hold the Earth for you if you'll get the apples for me. And and Atlas is only too happy to put down the earth for a second. And Wishbone Hercules balances the earth on his nose. So Atlas goes get the apples, brings them back, and then he offers to take them back to the king, who wants them for his daughter. The king's daughter wants the apples, the golden apples, for her birthday. And Hercules says, "Oh, that's fine, but I'm about to sneeze, so if you could just take the earth from me for a second," which is, of course, how he tricks Atlas into taking the earth back. And then he takes the apples back, and just wanted to get through that whole bit. The real-life story, the non-Greek myth part of the episode, is Sam's quest to find a birthday present for her dad, who is turning 40. And this episode, the first time that I heard 40, the age 40 referred to as over the hill, the idea that turning 40 was a big deal. It's not that big of a deal in real life, but it is considered to be a big deal. And it's kind of like the apples. Nobody knows where the perfect gift is. She doesn't want to get him a tie or fishing gear or anything normal like that. She wants to get him something special. And he happens to mention a fishing trip that he took with Joe's dad that he never had a picture from. That he knows they took a picture, but he never got a copy. And so Sam tracks down that picture. And it's a great, I think it's one of my favorite episodes as far as really thinking about gifts, especially in this age and gift cards can be very useful, but they are impersonal. They are, I don't know what to get you, so get yourself something. And there's some merit to that, and I enjoy spending gift cards and figuring out what to get, but I don't like getting people gift cards because I prefer to get them a specific thing that they need or that they really want. But it's a not that big of a deal. But I think that the episode depicts really the art of gift giving very well. And Sam, and Wishbone has a quest to a bigger dog steals his bone. He's got to trick that dog into giving back his bone, kind of like Wishbone Hercules tricks Atlas into trading the golden apples for the earth back. But Sam has quests as well. She has to look all through Joe's house because they hopefully can find the picture there. That would be easiest. And then Ellen suggests that she might have missed the picture. It might have been in Joe's dad's office at the college where he coached basketball. And so she calls ahead to say, this girl Sam is going to come. She needs to look for this picture in case you have it in storage. And Sam has to then go there, and then she has tasks like Hercules. The secretary volunteers to go and actually look through storage because she knows where things because she's a secretary, and that's what secretaries do. They know where everything is, and they juggle all sorts of things. But Sam, in the meanwhile, her task is to temporarily be the secretary and find out just how hard it is juggling all the phones, all the phone calls, all the different demands from the different departments, and coach here and personnel here, tickets, and she doesn't fail exactly, but she, it's kind of like her. It's probably akin to the Hercules task that's not in the episode, which is these giant horses are in a stable. The stables haven't been cleaned for years. It's a Herculean task to clean the stables. A lot of shoveling stuff and pushing stuff around, and that's what Sam has to do, but it's worth it. She gets the golden apple. She gets the picture in a nice frame, too. And speaking of pictures in nice frames, let me just see if there's anything more to say about this episode. Her dad really appreciates it. But speaking of pictures in nice frames, this is just an aside, but somewhat relevant. I have back here Susan B. Anthony in Barbie form, Susan Barbie Anthony. And since I'm from Rochester, she's an important historical figure, has been an important figure in my life for a long time. I used to give tours of her house, and recently up in Rochester, or close there too, and I'll put a link to this article in the description. They were cleaning out this office building or office space, and discovered a crawl space, which turned out to be a whole attic that had been sealed off for, I guess, decades, I guess a century. And they went up there and they found a bunch of old pictures. Apparently it was some photographer's studio, and he took the iconic photo of Susan B. Anthony, and he had a copy up there in a nice frame. And also apparently they found a glass negative. So I'm going to leave on that note because I think that's a really cool treasure discovery. Let me just preview what the next couple episodes will be. Our Lady of Guadalupe, I don't know anything about that. And Metamorphosis, it says that Wishbone plays King Midas. So pretty sure I've seen the King Midas episode. I don't know about the Our Lady of Guadalupe episode, but that Susan B. Anthony picture story is really, really cool. Let's wag another tale.